Hello, Stephan here with Liquidity with a video about the German word DeBahn and the many compound nouns that include DeBahn and some other things about that word as well. This is actually a viewer request video, so thank you, David Wood, for the idea.
Liquidity.
The letter H is silent in the word Bahn. It serves only one purpose, and that is to elongate the vowel A. If you've ever spent any time in Germany, even if you were just at the airport, you will have come across this logo. And this logo today represents a company that is called Die Deutsche Bahn. Sometimes people also refer to it as just Die Bahn. And it used to be called Deutsche Bundesbahn. This is the official German railroad or railway company that encompasses both cargo and passenger travel. There's also an Austrian and a Swiss equivalent to that, Österreichische Bundesbahnen, and in Switzerland it's Schweizerische Bundesbahnen. So when people in Germany speak of Die Bahn, when they refer to that term just by itself, most likely they're talking about the train. In fact, if you say in German, Ich fahre mit der Bahn, I am traveling with the Bahn, with this mode of transportation, even without a context, people will automatically assume that you're traveling by train. So without context, Die Bahn almost by default means railroad or railway, depending on which of those two English words you're more familiar with. Before World War II, the railway system or the railroad system in Germany would have been called Deutsche Reichsbahn, and ironically, when East Germany was created right after World War II, they kept referring to their railroad system as Deutsche Reichsbahn, even though it's such an archaic and such a non-socialistic word, right? So quite ironic, since Reichsbahn literally means imperial railroad. And I could just stop the video with that, right? Because that is probably the most common usage of just Die Bahn. But there are so many compound nouns that include that word. Technically speaking, if I'm talking about a railroad or railway system, I would have to say Eisenbahn, which literally means an iron path or an iron way. So just by itself, Bahn actually doesn't mean railroad necessarily, or railway if you're British. It means path, way. It can also mean lane. It can mean even trajectory. It can also mean figuratively a way of doing something, or a path to get somewhere figuratively, not necessarily in a physical sense, in a literal sense. It can also mean track. The origins of the noun Bahn are not really certain. It seems to be certainly a Germanic word. There is a Gothic word, banya, which means strike or hit, the noun. So maybe the origins are that Bahn is a place that was cut out of a forest, out of dense vegetation. But we don't really know. If a train runs on rails but actually runs through the streets of a city or a town, it would be die Straßenbahn, because it actually runs on the street, so that would be a tram. If it is a commuter train, it would be S-Bahn, which is short for Schnellbahn. And related to that would be U-Bahn, which is Untergrundbahn, which is a subway. There are some trains that go up very steep hills into the mountains that actually work with a cog system, and the German word for cogs are actually Zahnrad, literally a teeth wheel. And we have in those areas a few examples of die Zahnradbahn. And then there's also die Seilbahn, which is another means of transportation for people in the mountains. So that is a means of transportation that's hanging from a steel rope. And that would be, of course, a cable car. Die Seilbahn, that's a cable car. Another example of a Bahn that you can ride on would be die Geisterbahn, literally the ghost way or the ghost train. And I don't know if there's really an equivalent to that in the English-speaking world. So big carnivals or in the Oktoberfest, you may encounter something like that, which is kind of like a scary ride. And a place where a train would stop would be der Bahnhof. So that's a train station. Or if it's the main train station, it would be, or a central train station, it would be der Hauptbahnhof. Haupt is another word for head or main, so main train station basically. We have two words for the English word runway for planes to take off and to land. So if a plane takes off, we refer to it as die Startbahn. If it's used for a plane to land, it would be die Landebahn. And maybe the most famous example of Bahn in Germany especially, but also in Austria and also in Switzerland, they have the same word, is die Autobahn. Auto, of course, refers to automobile, so Autobahn is the interstate highway system of any of those three countries. Die Kegelbahn, that would be a bowling alley or a bowling lane more specifically. Die Stoffbahn refers to textiles, to fabric that is rolled up and that can be unrolled into a very long lane of fabric, if you will. Die Laufbahn, the runway, literally, but it's not a runway where fashion models would run on. It is the course of something or a track of something that you have pursued over a long period of time. So it's related to the English term, or actually Latin term, curriculum vitae. And it can mean that, but usually it means a career or a certain track that you've followed. So Laufbahn is meant figuratively a track that you have been following, usually in context to education and training and also your career. Also the verb bahnen, and usually that's used together or in an idiomatic sort of way, sich den Weg bahnen, to prepare a way basically. So you can for instance say, wir bahnen uns einen Weg. We're preparing a way for ourselves, where we're preparing a way forward. It can mean literally a path or more likely a figurative path. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. If you enjoy my other videos and haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do so, or please consider doing so. Thanks for watching. Take care. See you in the next video.